If you still think that South Africans are xenophobic, listen to these statistics and tell me if you are being fair. Because I did a thorough research to count how many foreign prisoners we have in South Africa and how many foreign prisoners are there in different African countries. And you will see that what is happening here is not tolerated anywhere in Africa. Ghana has 995 foreign prisoners. Nigeria, the people who are causing problems everywhere, they only have 245 foreign prisoners.
11 million rands is spent on undocumented foreigners in prisons. Now, this is such a complicated thing. Yeah, and I've always said, when South Africans are fighting illegal foreigners, I think you guys take this thing at such a surface level. South Africa spends about 450 per day on 480 per day on one inmate.
If you still think that South Africans are xenophobic, listen to these statistics and tell me if you are being fair. Because I did a thorough research to count how many foreign prisoners we have in South Africa and how many foreign prisoners are there in different African countries. And you will see that what is happening here is not tolerated anywhere in Africa. Ghana has 995 foreign prisoners. Kenya has 360 foreign prisoners. Egypt, 1,200 foreign prisoners. Nigeria, the people who are causing problems everywhere, they only have 245 foreign prisoners. Zimbabwe, 591. Mozambique, 330. Lesotho is a no-nonsense country. Because there is the hangpal there, the death sentence. They only have 23 foreign prisoners. Botswana, 524. Swaziland, 270. Namibia, 465. Guess how many we have here in South Africa? 25,585 criminals in South Africa. Foreign criminals. They came all the way from wherever they came from to come here and commit crime. You know, my mother has a business. She was robbed 3 times. My brother stopped working there because they were coming and they were shooting people there. And then they took his wallet and it had an inscription of his name and surname. And then the police found that wallet in another crime scene. It means these people are committing crime everywhere. And guess who was the person that was found with that wallet? Alfonso from Mozambique. Now, must we be afraid in our own country because of people who are going to pull the xenophobic card? You know, Mr. Groenewald, the Minister of Correctional Services, was suggesting that we bring back the corporal punishment because our prisons are overcrowded. But do you know how much it costs to feed one prisoner per day, to give that person 3 plates, to give them water and electricity, to pay someone to cook for them, for 25,000 people? It's millions and millions per day, while our people are suffering and poor. Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 to 28. Listen to how Jesus treated the Samaritan woman because she was not a Jew. She came to Jesus asking for healing, saying, "My daughter is sick." Jesus said, "I am only sent unto the lost sheep of Israel. I cannot take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs." So now Jesus is saying, how do I take something that belongs to the children and give it to a neighbor while the children are hungry? Charity begins at home. You feed your own first. When your own are full and satisfied, then you can think of someone else. But you cannot come and expect us to feed people while our people are still hungry. Then the Samaritan woman said to Jesus, "Even the dogs, they come and eat the crumbs that fell from the master's table. But you cannot take the crumbs and give them to the children while the neighbor comes and eats from the table. That doesn't make sense. It is not right. It is not fair." Luke chapter 3, verse 11. John, he says, "If you have 2 cloaks, give to the one who doesn't have. Do the same with your food as well. But if you have nothing, what can you do? South Africans are crying. We don't have jobs. Our prisons are overcrowded. How are we going to help our neighbors? We are not selfish. We are just being realistic. Charity begins at home. I hope you will stop saying people are xenophobic when they exercise their rights. Because your countries are very strict on foreigners. That's why people are not playing there. People who come to South Africa, they come only to steal. You know, a lot of people have been coming to South Africa, and we had no problem for the longest time. We had our democracy in 1994. We were not fighting with foreigners. This thing started recently because it is now getting out of hand. We can see that the borders that we have opened for people are now being taken advantage of. And then we have to put a stop to this. And without hard feelings, people should not complain. They should understand that what is happening to us is not tolerated anywhere in the world. Khotso ayibelele na.
Hi guys, happy Tuesday, good morning. So I don't know if you guys are aware, South Africa spends 11 million on undocumented foreigners that are in prison. 11 million rands is spent on undocumented foreigners in prisons. Now, this is such a complicated thing. Yeah, and I've always said, when South Africans are fighting illegal foreigners, I think you guys take this thing at such a surface level. South Africa spends about 450 per day on 480 per day on one inmate, on undocumented undocumented migrants. 480 per day on one undocumented person. Pofu Ramza only nigga 350 nina the whole month. Crazy business. Another thing that I saw is that I have dropped the full video on YouTube, guys. Another thing that I saw is that there are at least 25,585 foreign nationals in South African prison. 25,000 foreign nationals in South African prisons. And of that 25,000, at least 13,444 of them, 13,000 are sentenced, and then 12,145 are just detainees. They are struggling to pay their bails, so that's why they are there. Little should South Africa spend 11 million? This is a question to you now. This is your homework. Should South Africa spend 11 million on these undocumented inmates? Or should South Africa spend this money sending them back home and knowing that there is 50-50 chance that they're going to come back? What should South Africa do? And then another thing that I think is very important that I want to highlight. I have dropped the full thing on YouTube, but it says here, these expenses, the reason the 480 is spent on one inmate, it says these expenses include food, utilities such as water, electricity, hygiene products. I didn't know a prison about hygiene products and other essential services required to maintain basic living conditions. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight, because I'm doing this video for Ababa Soloko Benomsindu. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is that South Africa does not have it says that South Africa does not have a dedicated policy on this matter. Discussions around foreign nationals in custody must be approached with clarity and care to avoid misinterpretation. Presently, South Africa does not have a dedicated policy on this matter. And when we say that the problem is bigger than you guys think it is, and that the problem starts with the government, most people throw tantrums. This thing is very big. So what do you think should be done? Should they be let in prison? 11 million? Should they be deported knowing that they're going to come back? What should be done? Should they maybe be documented so that when they are deported and they are coming in, we know that this one was deported? I don't know. I'm just asking you guys. You let me know.